A funny thing happened on the way to a lecture on phenomenology at the University of Chicago this week when I overheard a kid from the Chicago Lab School tell her friend a riddle. You can never buy a mirror that's not been used before. I thought that was a pretty good one because she's correct. Someone's reflection has been in that mirror before you purchased it at the store. And our perception of ourselves is not limited to ourselves because that mirror is always looking back at us and at everyone else. Welcome to Conservative Coffee Hour. I'm Stanley Smith. Each week we look at candidates, issues, and ideas that shape the political landscape and how politics shape our lives individually and collectively. This week in Chicago, we had two gubernatorial debates, one on WGN and one on NBC. These were good opportunities to see and hear our candidates. Candidates were asked about a variety of topics, including crime, the economy, and social issues. When Gary Rabine was asked about critical race theory, he said, critical race theory is teaching our kids to see themselves as victims. When the moderator quizzed Mr. Rabine about what he meant, Gary said, critical race theory is teaching our kids to see themselves as victims. Another highlight was when Darren Bailey said, everyone knows that Chicago is a disaster. More important, I noticed the pattern of questions from the moderators about what programs candidates would create and how they would fund them. Mr. Bailey added clarity to this line of questioning and in many ways to the entire premise of our political discourse, which seems to be all about money and not about governing. Mr. Bailey said more money is not the answer in Illinois. He said 10 years ago, we had a budget of roughly $24 billion, and now our state has a budget of around $48 billion. Clearly, we can see that things are not getting better in Illinois just because we're spending more money. At the lecture on phenomenology, I learned that phenomenology is the study of phenomenons, and it has everything to do with our perception of things and how these perceptions affect us. It's like looking in the mirror. We train ourselves to see ourselves and others in a certain way that makes sense to us. We have a natural tendency to resist and deny our experiences and limit ourselves by creating idols of facts. I heard later that Mr. Bailey was criticized for talking about the city of Chicago in a disparaging way. This probably tells us more about the electorate than it does about Mr. Bailey. Can't we see that Chicago has serious problems and that Chicago is a disaster because it's central to the welfare of the entire state? Just because this does not affect us personally does not make this not so. Perhaps those on the losing side of living in Chicago would see this phenomenon differently. Ironically, neither of these is a phenomenon because in reality, a phenomenon is never fully known or understood. That's what makes it a phenomenon. We do not know how this will all play out, nor do we know for sure what the results of the next election will be. Yes, we can continue to be offended and insulted and to deny and to resist everything that does not match the reflection we want to see, or we can follow our hearts and stop voting for the same old party and the same old candidates and try something new. This would truly be a phenomenon. If you would like to join us at Conservative Coffee Hour, I will include my email in the description of this video, and I will be happy to send you an invite. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.